greatness, it's just something we made up. Somehow we've come to believe that greatness is a gift reserved for a chosen few, for prodigies, for superstars, and the rest of us can only stand by watching. You can forget that.
Well, I want to be a race car driver someday. It's a great sport. It's all I've ever known, racing.
You see Amanda Sherman slowly creeping in. And the 44 gives a bump to the 86. The 86 retaliates. I love it. And Amanda Sherman just drives off with a big old smile on her face. Meanwhile,
the manor, boys.
Unbelievable.
Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
Never turn these lights on.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Shop Talk Live. We've been gone for a while. A lot of new shit's happening in TNA Motorsports, and we just finished up the 24 hours of Daytona. We got Dave Seats with us, Terry Foster, Philip Van Vliet, new member of TNA Motorsports, and as always, Amanda Sherman. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Great, buddy. Great. Hope everybody's getting the rest in from Saturday night, Sunday morning. Tonight we have two representatives from TNA Team Lion, one representative from Motorsports, and Corey and I with what team was we on, Corey? Turtle.
Team Turtle.
Team Turtle. Trying to get a couple other guys or one other guy from I think it was Weeb Racing, I believe that's what they called themselves.
Yeah, Dalton was supposed to be in, but he got called in the bowling.
Yeah, Dalton, Corey Rutherford, and we'll go through. Hey, Mark, glad to see you out there. So, what do I want to start at? Dave, I want to start with you, man. You guys, hold on here. Let me pull you up. So you started 18th, and was that by choice or is that your qualified?
Oh, that was quali.
Wow.
I tried to take too much going into turn one, brushed the wall on entry, 0x'd it, and then by the time I got to the second lap, the tires were used up. So
the plus side of it, you guys ran your asses off. It was only 8 laps down out of 801 laps. Pretty damn good and come home second place out with only 3 drivers. You, your Mike Hamlin, and your friend Robert Henry. You guys done an excellent job, I think, other than getting that W. But I'll say this for all of us and anybody that was involved that's watching, Mark, of course. Some of us might have been bottom splits. Some of us might have been top splits. I don't give a shit where your split was. A 24-hour endurance race is something, if you're on iRacing, everybody should really try this. It takes a lot of time and effort. Dave, you seen it. Philip, Amanda, Corey. We was all practicing this thing for the last 3 weeks, I guess, whenever we had time. So I encourage everybody to do something like this, man. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Excuse me. It does take a lot out of us doing this. Corey and I were talking before we went on air. He's still a little sore from it.
Yeah,
I'm tired.
100%.
I'm still a little tired and sore from it, and I'm sure everybody else is too. But yeah, I encourage anybody to do this. But anyway, Dave, if you can, when you was awake, or if you was awake the whole thing, walk us through your race a little bit. Maybe some highs and lows, and what'd you guys end up doing?
Like I said, we started 18th, didn't have the best quali lap. And the first couple stints in our split was an absolute fucking brawl. I mean, people were the problem was our split was super sweaty. Like, everybody's lap times were there in a few tenths of each other. Like, my quali lap was a 14.4, pole was a 14.2. And I was 18th. In 2 tenths behind, I was 18th. Like, that's how close everybody was. and it was so bad. Going into we um got into the top 10 in the first stint, and we were going into the first horseshoe, and we had a Lambo behind us that tried to send it from a bus length back, hit me in the right rear corner, and just sent me into the infield. Got it spun around, had to wait for everybody to go by, come back out. We're like 28th, and got it back up to 5th. Got out of the car after doing 4 stints, turned it over to my buddy Rob, and I went and took a break. And while I was away, we had some issues going into the bus stop, touched the tire wall, did some damage to the front, then lost some lap time. So over the evening hours, we were, just trying to. It wasn't a lot. It was like 3.5 minutes of damage, but it was front aero damage, so we lost straight line speed. We finally got it all fixed and got our pace back, and we're running low 44s and quad standing tires all night, made up a lot of positions. Hand the car back over, and then we got punted in the rear again. This time it must have hit an oil cooler or something in the back, and we lost horsepower. So when I got back into the car, we went from running 44s to low 45s to running high 45s, low 46s. And it was all on the straightaway. Like, I'd come out of the infield, we're doing a 44.4 and lose a half second between turn 7 and the bus stop. And then another half between the bus stop and the start finish line. It was so bad.
So
But
your guys' fastest lap was a 1:44.162.
Yep.
The fast lap that was on lap 463. So midway through, that's when you guys was. But
yeah, it was right after we got all the damage fixed to the front of the car.
Okay.
And that was that was a solo lap. I didn't have anybody in front of me, so that it was super helpful because I didn't lose any of the downforce on the car in the bus stop. But we had more pace in the car. But once you start quad standing tires, you start to fall off a little bit. But I think the fastest lap in our lobby was a 43.7 or something like that.
You mean total the whole race?
Yeah, in our split altogether.
It was a 1:43.469, and that was actually done by the leaders.
Yeah.
And again, that was most likely in the middle of the night at lap 574. So I imagine that was pretty late in the night.
The leaders also had Smurf accounts, so they were much higher IR guys in low split. So
okay, gotcha.
Yeah, those guys were running 43s and 44s almost the whole race. They didn't belong where they were, but iRacing doesn't do anything about it, so it's just something you have to deal with. But yeah, you'll see that in every race. Usually the guys will wreck out, but there'll be guys that go in and purposely tank their IR before the race and lose 500 IR or something, or they'll have guys that make Smurf accounts, so you'll get like 2 guys on the team that are over 2K, and then you'll get this one guy that's like 800, but he drives like he's a mid 2K guy. He's like, come on guys, it's very obvious what you're doing.
I'm looking at that team's I rating actually right now. Their lowest is a 1086. Their highest is a 1988 with a 1410 and a 1569 in between. So yeah, I can see that.
But it is what it is. They kept their car clean early, and then for whatever reason, everybody in the lobby would just let them through. But then we're, the last 7 hours, we're in second place, and people are racing their balls off going into the turns with us. Like, you just let them go. We're racing them. What the fuck? Like, come on. But, when you get handed, nobody competes with them. So, and then Phoenix was in the car and he had the prime opportunity because they came up and, he was right there with them. So he wasn't being douchey about it, but he was holding his line and he was running his lap. And they're sending a message like, why are you racing us so hard? We're second. You're first. Duh.
Oh man,
Like, it's a
yeah.
fucking murder race, asshole. Fucking keep going. Send that shit, motherfucker.
So I'm looking at incidents. Also, you guys had 61 total.
Yep.
I ain't gonna give the breakdown at the.
Well, I definitely had the most. That
breakdown.
first.
Well, Dave, you also ran the most laps too.
Yeah, most of mine all came from the beginning. I had that 4X when the guy punted me. I had another 4X where it was a net code we didn't actually touch, but I'm going into the bus stop and there's 2 lap down cars in front of me, and I see them going in side by side, and I was like, I know how this is ending, so I slowed up, and they both just fucking scatter, and I'm like, all right, so I go in slow. It looks clear, and all of a sudden, the motherfucker in the grass just lets it come rolling across the track right in front of me and stops. It's like, what are you doing? So, got a 4X there, but all the rest of them were 1Xs on the exit of the bus stop because that car did not want to rotate on throttle out of the bus stop when it had 6 cars in front of it in the beginning of that race. No air. Oh my God, it was so bad. Like, you're good, throttle down. Nope. And you can't let off because there's a dude right behind you. So it's just like, oh, take a 1X.
I think Mark picked up. Philip, did Mark get 15 or 20 1Xers for that?
Yeah.
Well, Dave, like I said, you ran the most laps at 358 with the 34 incidents. I was going to ask about the incidents. Do you contribute most of that to maybe getting plowed into, rear-ended, ran off the track, or whatsoever? Or is this something you guys may have done, ran off the track right there in the fucking bus stop? You know, if you cut it too short,
yeah, it was all 1Xs on the bus. Like I said, I had those 2 4Xs where one was the guy punted me and the other one the guy came rolling across the track and net coded as a 4X. But all those other X's were one-offs in the bus stop. I got like 1 or 2 on entry. All the rest of them were exit. Because the car just, especially when you're quad stinting tires, like the car, you think you're good and it just wants to plow just a little bit and you're already like, you know, to get those lap times, you're already right on that edge and just that little bit extra, and it's the 1X. But never get any slowdowns. I don't think anybody on our team got a slowdown from the bus stop, but 1X the shit out of it.
Philip,
hey, they gave us 100. Might as well use them all, right?
Philip, check.
Yeah. I mean, you guys. Let's see, well, I'll go through all that after a bit. There's something else. So you guys actually did get a lead 3 laps of the race. Who led the laps? You or somebody else? You or Hamlin or Robert?
I don't remember.
Because it's not showing on here who led.
It would have had to have been me because I did the first 4 stints of the race.
Okay.
And then shortly after my buddy Rob took it, we had some drama in the bus stop. So
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought I saw you say so. I wanted to make sure that your thing was working.
We're getting a group text, Dave. That's just so.
No, you're good. You're good.
I was just shaking my head.
What, you guys fucking side texting over there?
I side text Philip.
So I'll give a little breakdown of your guys' team, Dave. So you ran 358 laps. Hamlin ran 218, and Robert ran 217. Incidents or X's, however you want to look at it, you got 34. Hamlin got 9, which that's not horrible, and Henry got 18.
Hamlin definitely got a damaged car each time he got into the car.
Oh, so you guys gave it to him that way?
Yeah. So his job, you know.
Corey and I know how that felt.
Yeah, Hamlin's job was
Fucker was never clean when I got it.
Nope.
He maintained the gap between, you know, the guys behind us and, you know, just kept the car clean. And then when I got in, and like, because Hamlin thought, like, he's like, oh, maybe I'm just that slow. And then I got in the car for the last, you know, race because we were down on horsepower for like 7 hours.
Oh, my Lord.
I got in the car because Hamlin did a triple, and then I got in and ran 3 full stints and then a 3/4 stint to get to the end. And I got in the car, and my first lap out was a 47, and I'm like, the fuck was that?
Hell, we were running faster than that in our Porsche.
I was like, fuck, maybe I just need to, you know, get the rhythm back or something. So I go out and do another one. It was like a 46. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? And then I was watching because the Ferrari has like predicted lap time on the display, and I come out of the bus stop and it shows a 44.4 is my predicted lap, and then it's just as soon as I hit the straightaway, you can just see the number rising. And it's
Oh
like,
wow!
oh, son of a bitch. But if we had somebody in front of us, it still wasn't full speed, but it was better. So we wouldn't lose as much. So like if I had a draft, I could do a low 45. But if I was by myself, if I was, you know, as much as I could get from every lap, it was a mid 45.
So let everybody know real quick. You mentioned your car using a Ferrari 488 GT3, the Evo 2020. We had a bunch of them on our track. They were fast. I mean,
They're super.
they were fast.
Yeah, the problem with the Ferrari is one, it didn't get any BOP. It was the way it was. You know, a lot of the Porsche you guys had, it got hit with a weight penalty, and that's why we had to do some changes to the ride heights and stuff like that. Some of the other cars got fuel, power, and weight and everything, but the Ferrari is just so consistent. And the braking on the Ferrari, the problem is you got to be super careful when you follow a Ferrari because you will try to follow them into the brake zone and you're waiting to that last minute to hit the brakes, but the Ferrari's stopping distance is much shorter by like almost 50 meters.
Oh wow!
So you hit the brakes on your car, when the Ferrari hits their brakes, you're not making the corner. So you got to be super mindful of that. And that's where you got to learn like each car's strength and weakness. Like the Mercedes AMG, that car is probably my favorite car on iRacing. Just, I love the sound. I love how it drives. That thing's got a big, nasty V8 in the front of it. It's got the grunt out of the corner. Like, it's not the best car to slow down, but when you give it the beans, that thing fucking gets up and moves. That's.
I'm going through all the cars in your guys' split, and there's not one LMP in there.
Nope, we didn't get any prototypes.
And I know we didn't get any in our split. I don't know.
Nope.
Philip, no?
No,
Okay.
we didn't.
Okay, so none of us had to mess with them. That's a good thing.
I missed them. They make it boring.
I did not miss them.
You need the prototypes to help you. Like, because this is such a high speed and drafty track, the prototypes, the traffic is what gives you space. So, like, you can make up all the time in the world that you want on the infield, but then somebody just catches you right back up again on the straightaway. So you just can't get away from somebody. Where LMP traffic cuts that off, and then they fall back behind that toe, and then it requires skill to catch up again, not draft. So I missed traffic. Traffic is if you can manage traffic, you're gonna be hard to beat.
Well taken. So it's something we can look at next season, I guess, or next 24, right?
Well, I've already told my team that for this Sebring 12 hours, we're gonna field a prototype car. That way we're guaranteed multi-class racing.
Hell yeah, there you go. Well,
we're all
Dave,
gonna die.
Anything else you want to talk about your race, the 24? I mean, it's your floor at the moment. Before I move on,
I mean, I just want to thank my team. You know, we all pulled together. Had a fourth guy kind of back out on us towards the last minute, and our painter jumped in and came to spot for us, help us out there, and was super helpful when we needed it.
But that was one question I was going to ask you. I've done all this write-up stuff earlier this morning. I noticed you guys only had 3 drivers. The question was, did you actually have a field of 4, or did you originally plan the 3? Evidently, you had a field of 4 to start with.
We were planning a 4 from the beginning, and then things happened. Our fourth,
happens, man.
Backed out, and it is what it is. So we just, I said I'd pick up the extra stints. So had to redo the paint Thursday night because I already had his logos and stuff on the other one. But got it swatched out. And yeah, it is what it is. I mean, real life happens, and whatever. But at the same time, I don't want somebody there that hasn't put in the practice, because that was the other thing. It was like, the rest of our team practiced for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Open practice, AI races, which I've never done an AI race. That was so helpful because I was not expecting the AI to be that aggressive. Like that motherfucker
Yeah, they
felt like an
were.
official race.
You couldn't spin them
Like,
either.
But
You know,
you know, we did all that stuff to get ready for the race. I didn't want to have somebody join the race and their first laps be in the race. Like that's not fair to the whole team when 3 of the drivers put in a lot of time to be prepared and one isn't. So
sure.
I'd rather do it the other way around, you know, just manage with 3 and do what we can do. And it was what it was.
Well, congratulations on your second place, man. I know
Yeah,
you wanted
great
that
job.
win, but
That's
again,
impressive.
dude, second place.
I mean, I don't. Our wins are nice, but if I can get a top 5 in these events, I'm super happy. Like,
Sure.
you know, fuck, just finishing these races is an achievement. Like, yeah, you can fix the cars and stuff like that, but to have the, you know, the ability to just stay focused enough to get to the checkered flag, that is an achievement. You know, we're not professional race car drivers. You know, we're sim racers. We do this for fun, and we still were able to, you know, go out there and do a 24-hour race, like an actual team race, like the real guys do. And our race is a lot more difficult. There's no cautions. There's nothing like that. It's, you know, and that's where you have, like, we had that damage and stuff like that. That's where we lost our laps. There's no cautions to get them back. So
Right.
unless they have an issue, you're never going to catch them.
Right.
So, you know, it's sim racing is not as hard physically, and you don't have to worry about, you know, you destroy the car, you exit out, you go about your day. But the actual like racing, the off tracks and all that stuff is way more scrutinized in sim racing than in real racing. That motherfuckers be off track all day long. You think they're doing fucking lawnmower sim in real races, you know, and they got the cautions and all shit like this.
So, one other thing before I move on to somebody else. You said you had a spotter. Was he there 24 hours with you guys, or did you switch back and forth, or how'd you guys do that?
No, he jumped in. We mainly needed him for like the overnight shift, but he kind of fell asleep on us. But he definitely helped in a couple of the stints. You know, but no, the way we set it up, because our first Daytona 24, we went in there guns a blazing. You know, never done an endurance race like that before. We were getting it, and come middle of the race, we're fucking dying, because that was the last year when like 20,000 people tried to join and it crashed all of iRacing. So
Oh
the race
man.
didn't start for another 4 hours after it was supposed to start. So by the time the race started, I was already up for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then the race started, and then we went 24 hours.
And
Well,
this year they had a little bit of a problem also.
it wasn't a problem. It's just people need to be patient, because like a typical IMSA race during the weekend, an official may draw 600 drivers.
Sure.
You know, there was 9,000 drivers that they had to seat in splits. That's a lot of splits, and they start at the top. So when you're in towards the bottom, you just have to be patient. And people start trying to like withdraw and rejoin because they don't know what's happening and
Right.
it's taking so long, and then that just makes it worse. You just have to be patient when they're trying to field that many people, because they have to go through all their algorithms, and like the LMP cars start getting confusing because there's not nearly as many prototypes as there is GT cars. So guys with lower IR but are running prototype cars are going to be in a much higher IR split, which
understandable
kind of sucks at the same time, because you may have guys in GT cars that are as fast as guys in prototype cars because of the split level you're in. So it gets one of those really weird like scenarios, but like it takes a lot of time to go through and seed all those drivers. So it just takes a little bit of patience. The Daytona 24 is probably one of the most registered for races, because it's
maybe there's something iRacing can look at on down the line, is to let us register a day before, 2 days before. Let them have the time to separate all that. So at 7 a.m., my starter can be right here ready to go
Yeah.
at 7 a.m. instead of, I think we got started at 7:45. Amanda, and Philip, I don't know what time you guys is
About
able to
8
start.
o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we were 45 minutes, you guys were an hour. So it's not horrible, but it still sucks.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know how that would work per se, because there's a lot of people that'll register for the early race. So like Friday at like 6 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll race it for a little while, and then they'll have an issue or something like that. So they'll exit out of that one and they'll register for one of the other ones. So
Yeah, I've
you
seen
really
that
wouldn't be able, if you
before.
had to
Yeah.
register for the server you were running the day before, you wouldn't be able to do that. Plus, there's guys that like we actually know a guy that we didn't know about it till mid race, or we probably would have had a fourth driver. But there was a guy that Phoenix knows or Hamlin, that his team backed out on him the night before the race.
Oh man.
So like if you guys are already registered and all of a sudden his team backed
true.
out,
Good
he
point.
wouldn't have been able to if he would have been able to find a team, he wouldn't have been able to do anything because he would have already been registered.
Right. Okay, I get you
So,
on that. Yeah. That makes
I don't know that
sense.
that's, I think it's just one of those things where people have to be a little bit patient and realize that you're taxing
Sure.
servers more than it's really built for one event. So at least we didn't crash all of iRacing this time.
This is true. This is true. So we got 2 noobs in here of the 24. Actually 3. This is your first one too, wasn't it, Corey?
Yeah.
Okay. So Philip, I'll start with you. Philip ran Team Lion with Amanda, Mark Arthur, and Aaron Backover. Move to this screen. You guys started in 39th and ended 26th. Now, Philip, I'll go ahead and I think you started the race. Am I right?
Yeah, I started.
Okay, so started 39th. I think you guys had a field of 49 also. Was that intentional, that starting in 39th?
Yeah, I wanted to start towards the back. I actually left the race setup in and qualified with that. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to hang out back, and good thing I did, because if I'd have tried to push it to qualify, I'd have been in that mess in the
You avoided a big
horseshoe.
one right in the beginning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was
First lap.
6 cars that just
Yep.
took each other out.
Yep.
So a rundown of what you guys done right quick. Started 39th, ended 26th. 54 laps down for that was 749 laps of total. What you guys did.
Like Mark just said, Mark just said we somehow ended up in the highest split out of all of us. Like we were like,
yeah,
why the hell
you
did
guys
we end up
did.
here?
You did.
Philip has a solid I rating, and Aaron was in the 2K
Aaron
I
was
rating.
up there, yeah.
Yeah.
So between the two of you, and then I think Mark was mid thousands, like 15 or something like that.
I've got him pulled up right now.
Yeah. So because mine was like 17, and then my 2 teammates were like 13. So that put us down one below you guys. But you had a guy over 2K, another guy it's like 1700, and then Mark's. So yeah, you definitely got put on the higher IR split, which put you in a more difficult position.
Yeah, so Backover's a 2168. Then Mark is a 1574. Philip at a 1606, and Amanda with a 994. So yeah, there was your guys' problem. You should have kicked Mark and Aaron out.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Right?
You know.
So Philip, being your go ahead.
If it wouldn't have been for the issues that we had, it would have been top 15 easy. You know, I mean, and most of the stuff wasn't our fault.
So Dave, I forgot this one question I wanted to ask. Do you remember how far down you guys fell in the race?
What do you mean?
So you finished second. Did any time was you ever out of the top 10?
Oh fuck yeah! When I got punted by the Lambo, we were back in 28th.
Okay. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, we dropped all the way back, but Thankfully, it was in the first stint, so it wasn't
Okay.
like we were, struggling with guys that were laps down or laps ahead of us already. So
So you guys, Philip, you guys ran a 1:44.506, I believe. Mark ran that.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it was Mark who ran that. So good job, Mark. Your first race, your first 24. What'd you think, man? I mean,
Oh,
talk about your personal side of the race, being up all this time. I know you work nights, so you're used to it. So
Mhm.
talk about it a little bit.
Oh, I enjoyed it. Tremendously. I mean, it was a blast. We got started a little bit late, but it is what it is. So I had fun. I'm not a road course guy, so put that many laps in and everything, and really, I had 6 incidences, I think, and 4 of
You
them were
did.
because somebody decided they wanted to take me into the front stretch wall. So, but I never got any damage out of it though. So
Oh,
that's
that's
the
good.
thing. So really,
Yeah,
but
you got a 6X at 183 laps.
yeah, 2 of those were the little lawnmower job on the bus stop. So, but other than that, yeah, I had a blast. Except for the little mechanical issue I had in my very first
I was
attempt.
going to get to
Oh,
that.
you guys saw the picture, I'm sure. But
I did.
yeah.
So Dave alluded to they had to actually run their race with 3 people,
Mm-hmm.
and at the last moment they had to rearrange all their schedule. You had mechanical issues, so I want you to tell everybody exactly what you had to do to get so you could drive this damn car.
Well, basically, with the shifter, with it being in sequential mode, basically you're just pushing it forward and it goes back to
Right.
center, downshift and upshift, and whatever the case may be. Well, all of a sudden, it decided when I went to upshift, it stayed there. I went, what? Brought it back to center, and then when I went to downshift, it stayed there. So the first fuel run, about 3/4 of the way through, is when that happened. So for the rest of that fuel run, I had to bring that back to center every time I shifted,
Oh
upshifted and downshift.
man.
So once I got into the pits and during the fuel stop, I quickly mapped 2 buttons on my steering wheel here for an upshift and downshift, and went from there. So
How long did it take you to get used to doing this shit for your
really,
thumbs?
I hate paddle shifters. I've never been comfortable with them for some reason, but the buttons were just right in the right spot right here. I mean, they're right here.
Okay.
And worked out pretty good. It took me a little bit, probably 5-6 laps of doing it, and then I got really comfortable with it. So it worked out quite well. So
we all jumped in. I want to say probably around 6:30, 7 o'clock. We're all bullshitting, having fun. I think we might have been in here actually talking. How much rest did you actually get? Was you able to walk away from everything for a few hours, or did you stay on top of it for 24 hours?
I tried to walk away. I did once.
He kept coming back.
Yeah, I kept coming back. Hey, checking in, and then I probably took about a 3-hour nap before my second stint.
Okay.
But other than that, yeah, I was up the whole time. So
yeah,
but
yeah.
Like I said, with me working all the hours I've been working and working nights, it wasn't that big a deal to me, anyways.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
Yeah.
Well, again, congratulations, man, on your first one.
Yeah.
Looking forward to next season, next year?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd do it again.
Okay, cool. Well, there you go, Corey. Now we know.
It's a lot different when you can sling that car into the corner and know it's going to grip, ain't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
I know at the last minute we changed the setup, and I think that hurt us for a little bit until each of us got used to that car again. I know for me, it took me, oh my God, probably 5 laps to figure out, hey, I can go a little faster into these turns now. I can brake a little later.
Used to it.
So, I mean, I was okay with it at the end, and we'll get with Corey and I's race in a little bit. So, Amanda, I'm going to move to you. Your first race, what did you think?
It took a little getting used to. Like you said, the setup got switched the night before, I had a complete panic attack. I was not happy about it. I voiced my opinions, struggled through practice the night before, was a bit slower, so I was very nervous getting up and jumping in. And luckily, it was a little late. Philip and Aaron had run some practice laps while we were waiting, so they're like, hop in. So I got in. I ran, pretty decent couple laps. I'm like, okay, I'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's a looser setup, but you'll figure it out. So Philip ran his first stint. I didn't really pay too much attention because I was running around with stuff in the house. Um, so I jumped in, and Philip was spotting. And first fucking lap, I'm trying to be cautious with my new tires, and some piece of shit just slams in the back of me as I'm getting ready to go in the bus stop,
Mhm.
and gives me 12 minutes of damage.
Yep.
I was
Yep.
so upset. It shook me up and rattled me so much. Went in the pits. Philip's calming me down. We get it fixed and everything. I think Aaron jumped in at some point and whatnot,
Mhm.
but got the car back out there. I was nervous as shit. I did about 2 hours. I think Aaron finally came back and I was ready to be done with my stint. And Aaron, saved me, got me out of there. He filled in the extra hour. I stayed up, I spotted, did everything I could to just kind of help them out until my next stint where I'm like, okay, I'm used to some of the names on the track. Let's do this again. I did really good in my mind for my second stint. Mark did a lot of the spotting for me, kept me calm. I fucking dumped it into the wall at the bus stop because I went in a little hard. I was watching the car in front of me instead of watching the track, and the car in front of me got loose. So I panicked a little, slammed it in the wall, had 12 minutes of damage, got it fixed, got back out there, finished my stint, was pretty good. For where I was, I think I hit a 147, which was good for me for a setup I wasn't used to and wasn't crazy about. We did a lot of adjustments in the car last minute, jumped up the traction control, the ABS, jumped up the brake bias, anything I could to try to tighten the car up a little bit because that's what I liked. Overall, I've really enjoyed spotting the most out of everything. I had a great time spotting for Aaron, helping keeping him calm because his frustration levels were a bit of a roller coaster here and there. But
He's like a woman.
and I really enjoyed working
Didn't he
as a
smash up the
team.
car?
Oh yeah, a
Yeah.
couple times. But his second
know-
A
stint
couple
was
times.
You gotta love that. God damn it.
Yeah. Welcome to that, Philip.
Josh Rutherford, if you can get in with us at Shop Talk, I would
He said
love to
his
have
mic
you in
wasn't
here.
working.
yeah, his mic's
Oh,
not
okay,
working.
okay. Sorry, bud. Okay.
But overall, working as a team, I really enjoyed that. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed trying to do anything I could to help them. I really focused on studying the other drivers, especially with Aaron's stints, and letting him know who was being extremely aggressive, who was passive, and just kind of got into the mesh of that stuff. I really had fun doing that a lot. Was assisting them with anything that I could, knowing that I knew I was the weakest link on the team and almost I don't want to say a space filler or a stint filler, but
Nope.
the speed was with the other guys. So my thing like on my second stint after and Mark was very good about saying, calm down, it happens, fix the car, get out there, car fixed itself beautifully and was consistent in hitting my marks after that. Aaron had to remind me once, he jumped in, he said, calm down, just hit your marks, you're good to go. And I had to take a little bit of a break where I thought I was going to take a nap for a half hour about 1 o'clock in the morning. I fucking passed out for 3 hours on the dog couch. I was being in VR. I calculated out it was about 14 hours I spent in VR in my rig, either spotting or racing. My equilibrium was all fucked up when I took it off and tried to put it back on. But it was
Well,
fun. It was fun. It was exhausting, but I really enjoyed the team camaraderie part of it.
so I'll go
Yeah,
through your numbers real
I think
quick.
we had a blast. We had a
Yeah.
blast. You know.
Mandy,
Everybody works so well together.
you had a total of 138 laps with a 7X, which that's not horrible either.
Yeah,
had
mine
nice.
got punted a couple times, and then I got an X on the. Well, I hit the wall, and then I got an X on the grass. That got me once.
So you say you like the spotting side of it better than you do the racing side of it. So next year, would you want to
So
race, or would you want
here's
to
the
be
thing.
this main spotter?
I would definitely love spotting a lot of it. I would race again with the comfort of staying, straight up comfort of staying with the setup that I put over 20 hours of practice in. I
Yeah.
We all
voiced my
did.
opinion on that. Everybody knows my opinion on how that worked out. Again, it comes down to adapting, and I adapted and worked with the setup. I was also very partial to the Ferrari after just doing officials and stuff for a full fucking week with Dave and everything. I really liked the Ferrari. So I think having a little maybe give and take with options on cars and that kind of stuff, I think I would do it again, knowing what I can expect now in
Definitely
the
something we can
race.
look at next year for the different car. This is my second time running the Porsche, and because we know that Porsche is pretty much the slowest one on track. So I mean, we can
Not
go.
not true. Not true. I mean, the Porsche. The problem is the Porsche is stupid fast, but the Porsche requires a lot of skill to make it fast because of its understeering nature. And that's the setup that I built was more designed to keep the car consistent and on the black stuff and not be super fast because you need the back end of the car to be very lively to
And I
get it
think
to
that's what
rotate the
scared me. I was
corner.
almost like getting too much speed going into the corners off the straightaways and stuff, so I was
Yeah,
fucking losing it, but
yeah,
was able to back my marks up a little bit. Mark and Aaron were saying like back it up a little bit, and then
yeah,
after watching Philip towards the end of his stint, going, okay, I'm watching what they're doing. This is at least how I
yeah,
stop spinning out.
yeah. I mean,
Dalton,
yeah, you could have definitely practiced to get it there, but to jump into a new set the night before would have definitely been
That's
rough.
where Aaron's struggle was, and he struggled
Yeah,
right out of the gates on his first stint. And once he
but
figured the same thing out,
yeah.
he settled right into it too. He
But yeah,
adapted to it.
the set that I had put together was never intended to be outright pace winner. Like
Right.
it wasn't designed for that because I knew this was your first race. I was more trying to keep the car consistent and on track than to be the pace setter. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, these types of races, ultimate pace is not going to win you the race. Being on track and not getting those X's and not bending the car is going to the less time you spend in pit lane, the better chance you
That's
have
what
of
got
a
us.
solid finish.
Yeah, we were
And
very consistent. We had some fast guys, but it was those pit
yeah,
stops.
and that's where, a setup change the night before would be hard on, seasoned guys, let alone people that are doing it for their first time. So
The
that would have
mental
been a little rough.
part, the hardest part for me was that first stint, the mental part of it, like, God, fuck, like, what's
Yeah,
happening? Like, and then I got uncomfortable. But then after listening to these guys as they were doing their stints and the way they were talking and just sitting there, I was spotting, but then when I had one of you other guys in there helping spotting, I was
yeah,
jumping in their cockpits and watching what they were doing with the setup and realizing where they were braking a little earlier, what they were doing, and the shifting changes. So
yeah,
adapting with that as well and watching what they were doing. So another learning
yeah,
lesson too. But overall, what I liked about doing it is it did put me in a better comfort zone, even for BPL with road races, with regular cars and everything, Xfinity and Arcas and all that, because it just made me again a little more comfortable on tracks like that. So I won't be so timid and scared just with the BPL drivers.
yeah. So I don't know. It's just I enjoy that kind of racing, and the
so
team aspect of it.
we went over Philip and Amanda stuff. I just hit Mark and Aaron real quick. So Mark, where the hell's it at? Mark ran 229 laps. Yeah.
I think he did the most on our team, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he had
he did some long
Yeah.
ones.
229 laps with a 36X. Pretty damn good.
Yeah, he
Aaron,
had that last stint that was a lot. It was longer than the rest of them. So
Yeah.
Aaron ran 199 laps with the 18X. Pretty damn good. So, I mean, you guys done a fabulous on your X's, that's for sure. So Corey and I were talking before we went on air. In a hole, Team Lion beat our ass. We beat them in.
Didn't know if you were going to admit it or not.
Oh, I'll admit it. I
were
will
waiting
admit
for
it.
Yesterday morning, we were talking about
Yep.
that before when we
Yep.
were signing out of the race.
So Team
Yep.
Lion
We
ended
had
up in
problems.
26th, and we ended up what, 24th, Corey?
Yeah.
Yeah, 24th. So overall, you guys whooped our ass, but finishing wise, we get the banner. So
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Hey,
No,
Mister
you don't.
Mister New Man here. So I
You be
again,
quiet over there,
All
Rook.
the boxes are crossed. You had the most
Yep.
boxes crossed off. You know.
So somebody, who was it? Here, I'm going to go over this real quick. This is pretty interesting. What I just read. Where the hell did it go? Said something about me. I had the most laps, but we'll get to me later. I'm going to go ahead and do team full weeb racing. Consists of Brian Dees, Dalton Kilroy, Josh Rutherford, and Corey Rutherford.
I like their car. They had like an anime girl car. They said
That
trying to distract
was-
other people on the
That's
track.
pretty cool.
That was pretty gay.
I think did Corey make that? I think Corey designed that. It was a good looking car.
I'm just kidding, Josh and Corey, if you guys are listening. But so I'll just read them what I'm looking at.
he's
Brian Dees, shut up, Corey. They finished 19th. No, I'm sorry, my bad. They finished 6th, started 2nd. I know they had some problems with a couple people out there. I heard Dees a couple times hollering. But 19 laps down out of the same race. They were in the same race we were, 788 laps.
Yeah, because at one point we saw them, they fell down to like 21st.
Yeah, they dropped because we was only like 3 behind them, I think, at that point, wasn't we?
No, we were a lot more than that.
No. I mean, in place wise.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, place wise. So, did your laps complete? Brian Dees done 310.
Damn.
Dalton done 302. Josh Rutherford done 93. Corey Rutherford done 64. Brian Dees had a 34X out of 310. Damn good. 25 for Dalton out of 302. 6 for Rutherford, or Josh Rutherford for 93, and 4 for Corey at 64. I said, I've seen these guys on track. They done a lot of splitting, and also I thought Brian and Dalton, those guys, as I read over here, they were the Supermans of their team. I don't know how they ran their splits or how they ran their stints, but it seems like Brian and Dalton, of course, they was on the track more because they had more laps. But I always seen Josh and Corey connect, disconnect. It's like, well, hell, they're coming back in. Sometimes I never saw them on the track though, so I don't know. What else I want to talk about those guys? Well, awesome job for finishing 6th, starting 2nd. Man, you guys done a hell of a job out there. I know they passed us a few times, more than few. And there is a picture, I think it might be in the Blazing Pedals, of our very final lap across the start finish line with Corey and Dalton finishing next to each other.
That was so much
that
faster
was-
than him.
Well, what's funny, if we could have watched that, if anybody else could have seen it, I mean, I was watching it. Of course, Corey was driving, coming out the bus stop. Dalton starts picking up speed and gets behind us, and Corey's just making his car do this.
Made that bitch 4 lanes wide coming to the start finish line with my steering wheel completely cocked to the right.
he made that Porsche as wide as the track, but Dalton would have been. I don't think Corey would have wrecked him. I hope he wouldn't.
No,
but
I was
there
just
would be
fucking with
no
him.
reason for Dalton to even pass us. I mean, the Dalton's next competitor was probably 4 or 5. Oh fuck, I know how many he was down. Was 1 lap behind him, but like a half a track. So
Dalton just
had
said
nothing to worry
he
about.
lifted. Dalton just said he lifted.
Okay, don't call me a nutsack because I didn't watch you scream, you penis.
I would have bump drafted Corey all the way into turn 1 and sent that motherfucker flying.
Yeah.
I will have to say, so you said you heard Dee's hollering or saying something.
Oh, he was
Mark,
pissed.
you should have been spotting with Mark. I was in there. Aaron was, I think, eating dinner and napping. I think Philip was taking a nap because I think he had a stint coming up relatively soon. Mark was making friends all over the track.
I bet he was.
We had 2 cars, number 69, and then we forget there was another car. Number 69 had been the team that punted Philip in the beginning. And then he fucked with Aaron. And then the one guy fucking slammed in the back of Mark, set him, same team, sent him into the wall, then keyed up talk shit to Mark. So next guy joined in for that team. Mark hits him, keys up, and he goes, "Hey, Christian, just so you know, that was out of frustration. I should have put you in the wall like your teammate did to us." And he had a couple other words, called a few people dumbasses, another one a stupid
Not
fuck.
Mark.
And I'm like, Mark, stop being friends before I'm about to get in the fucking car in about 20 minutes. You're pissing everybody off on the track, and they're going to retaliate
That's
with
why
me.
we had the big target on the back of the car.
That's all it was. Yeah.
Mark was making friends his whole
Ah.
first stint, but it was
Man.
entertaining, and it didn't seem like anybody actually retaliated, which was great. But it was a little nerve wracking, but funny at the same time.
I'll have to go look at the replay then so I can hear that.
Get rid of this one. Bring it over here.
I didn't hear very much radio chatter in ours, but I might have just had it turned off.
We had a little
it,
bit.
It was nuts in ours sometimes.
Yeah, but the problem was some were on all teams, some were on
Yeah.
all drivers, but the
Mhm.
spotters, we could hear a lot of it, and there was a fair amount getting thrown around. And I only think I saw once some little douchey person put in there, "I'm going to protest you saying that." Grow
Yeah.
the fuck up. Like, if you don't like it, don't race. Like, come on.
I think the last 3 hours it was just Terry and Dalton talking over the radio chatter the whole time.
Well,
And I think Deez was in there too. They're just chatting it up like they're on
we're
fucking
just all having
Discord.
fun. We're just having fun, man. I tell you what, I've already talked to Corey about this too. I think it was anyway, I was talking to somebody about this. So my last stint, within an hour of Corey about ready to take over the car for one last hour, I'm sitting there, I'm in my rig, I'm sitting there driving this thing, and I'm just doing this. I'm stretching, I'm yawning, my eyes hurt. So when I pit, I'm reaching in there doing this under my visor and shit, and I got real quiet. It got real quiet in my head, so I was like, fuck, there ain't nobody awake. I think everybody went to sleep. Then all of a sudden, if I needed, I was like, Corey. Hey, Corey, there you go. Yeah. So I don't know if Corey was trying to take a nap or he just wasn't around his computer or whatever.
No, I was standing up because I was sick of sitting in my seat for fucking 27 hours.
Oh, I got that. I was spotting for Aaron, and when there was nobody around him, I wasn't talking. I was letting him be. I would only tell him certain things he needed to know, and only chit chat a little bit on the straightaway to kind of keep him entertained. So we went a good, 10, 15 minutes without talking because he was all by himself. I'm sitting there, and I was actually starting to doze a little bit. It was his second stint, and I'm like, stay awake. And then Aaron did one of those quick, hard coughs in the microphone, and he's on voice activity. I was like, fuck, like he scared the livid shit out of me. I was like, damn it, Aaron. He's like, what? I'm like, you scared the fuck out of me.
Get ready for that too, Philip.
Yeah, mainly out of me. So, go ahead.
We were good. We were making fun of my buddy for putting it in the wall the whole race. So that's what we were doing to keep ourselves awake. Just constantly poking at him about it. It was fun.
So I'll go over Team Turtles thing here, and then we'll get the bullshit some more here.
Well,
so
you gotta get to Corey too.
I will get to Corey, Amanda.
He'll get jealous and upset and not talk to you for a month.
Talk to me or you?
You, if he doesn't get to talk about his race.
What?
Is that
you didn't talk about your race yet?
Is that all it takes? It's just not talk, let him talk?
Yep.
Really? Now you tell me this? Yeah, no shit. So anyway, Team Turtle out of TNA Motorsports consisted of Rick Hammond, Chris Legge, Corey, and myself.
It's Legoo. We actually asked him.
Legoo.
Whatever the fuck. I don't think
I thought it was lag.
No, it's
anyway.
No, we asked them. I think it was around 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. We finally asked.
We've already talked about Dave having problems with. Was supposed to start with 4, but ended up with 3. Team Lion, Philip having problems with his shifter and everything, so there's problems in there. TNA, the Turtles, we had a problem. So Rick Hammond actually got in his stint, but he had to come to Chris's house to do it because his computer shut down on him or wasn't working or something. So he brought some of his stuff over to Chris's house to do this. Now he has to use Chris's rig and not used to it. So
wait, that was the second part. The first part was because the race took so long to start. that Chris's headset only works for 3.5 hours. So by the time it started, he could only do 2.5 hours before the battery started getting dead. So I had to jump in earlier than I was expecting.
Right. So I'll go run over Rick's numbers real quick. Rick, that can't be right. It has to be right. Rick had 78 laps.
Yeah, that's right.
With a 14X. Did he get... He wrecked, didn't he, Corey?
Yeah, he put in the tires going back onto the track.
Okay. Then Chris, he done 177 laps with a 39X. He also, I think he wrecked it in the bus stop and there's someplace else.
A few other places.
Yeah, a couple other places. Yeah. Corey ran 221 laps with a 7X, which is just fucking awesome.
Yeah, and what, 4 of those came on the second to last lap because I wasn't paying attention where the bus stop was.
Yes. And I
were trying to figure out fuel.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I ran 248 laps with a 13X, which is pretty damn good. Somebody said, I think it might have been Josh who said a little bit ago, he figured it out. I ran a little over 7 hours.
7.5
total.
Hours. Yeah.
7.5 hours.
Yeah, because you did do, I think your first stint you did 3.5, and your second you did 4.
Yeah, so I was a little tired when I got done too. So, but I had fun.
It was like Aaron for covering my slack. Yeah, it's a long time for you guys to be doing that.
So we had to. So on the fly, we actually had to cover Rick's stint. When we found out he wasn't being able to drive, I was in the car at that point. So I suggested, well, I'll just go further, and then we'll just split it up as we go on through the night. So, yeah, I'm not mad at Rick at all. Been nice if his computer were to work, so he'd been on his own rig, but it happens. Chris had a few incidents again, like I said.
Well, then his headset didn't charge all the way to the second stint, so he only did 2 hours that time, or an hour and a half or something.
And Chris kept telling us, "I'll be here. I'll be here all 24. I'll be here all 24." Now Corey and I can't prove this, but he got really, really quiet. But then finally, I think it was the last hour, Corey, he finally got back in with us.
Yeah, when I took over the final hour, he's like, I've been just listening to you guys on the couch. We're like, okay.
Whatever, buddy. So, Corey, I'll go ahead and let you talk about your race, bud.
I mean, yeah, it was fun. I did made a whole playlist. So I had 3 hours and 12 minutes of music playing, and there's a lot of early 2000s rock and stuff, so that kept me going. And I'll tell you what, I had fun my first stint. I think I had a 1X after 3 hours. I just clipped the grass once. And then my second stint, that one was a lot of fun because I had some beers in between. Then I found out that Rick wasn't coming back, so I was like, okay. And then, Chris was like, oh, I'm gonna have to get out early. I'm like, okay, so I got about an hour to sober up because I wasn't planning on going this early. But yeah, the second stint I did, I think it was till 2 o'clock in the morning or something, like 11 to 2. That one was fun. Yeah, that setup felt on rails at that point. It was just, I had a perfect amount of beer in me. But I'll tell you what, the worst part about the whole race, I even told Terry this, I was spotting for Terry when he was doing his last 4 hour stint because we think Chris was hanging out with us, but he wasn't talking. So I was helping Terry out. I was standing up, walking around. I had the sim racing apps on the Relative on another monitor. And just watching that countdown from 3.5 hours took fucking forever. I look at him like, oh, it's only been 5 minutes. Sweet. And I was standing up, pacing back and forth. I'm like, I can't keep sitting in this chair. And then when I got in that last hour, I'm like, all right, fuck it. Here we go. Went around, and then we had to figure out fuel because we were going to be one lap short. So I've tried to save fuel and try to pay attention. And then when we finally figured out that I was going to come in, I just lost it in the bus stop and smacked the wall, and then went and got my fuel, and we finished 24th because somebody got DQ'd.
Yes, somebody did get DQ'd.
I did have a great time doing it. Like everybody was saying, like just hanging out with your team for that long. I'm still not 100% after that. I'm still sore as fuck. Like my head's all fucking cloudy and shit. And
got to be in the 30s again
I was
that day.
because I got up to start my
Didn't
stream.
bother me a bit.
I got up to start my stream at 5:30. So by the time I went to bed, I was up 27 hours before I went to bed, and then I could not fall asleep for the life of me. So I slept like shit. Woke up, was trying to watch football games, dozing in and out, and it should be fine tomorrow.
Yeah, it does take a lot out of a person. So it
Talking
seemed
about
like
the team camaraderie, though, real quick before I forget about it. So we had the best of both worlds. We each had, Team Turtle and Team Lion, but we also had the group text going. In the beginning, we were all kind of in Discord and or TeamSpeak, private TeamSpeak, so we weren't disrupting the driver, but Discord and chit-chatting. And then you see everybody kind of dying off in there. But the group text with all of Team TNA and stuff like that, kind of chatting, how are you guys doing, what's going on over there, everybody waking up, doing your thing. So we had an overall huge TNA team thing going, and we had our individual team stuff going, so that even excelled the whole experience of it, is kind of keeping an eye on each other and having the fun team versus team.
Well, even just, we always say that Blazing Pedals is more like a family and all that. I was on Mike Hamlin's stream. I was chatting with those guys for a while. Clicked on Dalton's stream, but I guess he was sleeping at that point, so really wasn't too much going on there. But yeah, I made Mike Hamlin eat a bunch of Carolina Reaper chocolates.
Yeah, I kept running around asking Corey, how's Dave's team's doing, how's Dalton and Dee's and the Rutherfords doing, and then I would jump in and chat with our team.
Yep.
And go, this is
Kept
what
checking.
Corey's. Yep, and we kept updating each other in TeamSpeak. This is how the other guys are doing, all your guys' teams and stuff. So it was fun just watching all the BPL drivers in their own races going on. It was just great that, two of the teams could be in the same group with you guys and Dalton and stuff. So that was even more fun. So it was almost like 3 levels of fun.
Yeah, like Josh wrote in there, they were watching our streams and commenting in the race and all that when we kind of forgot we were on our stream and we were talking about Dalton. Then Dalton came over and race chat because somebody must have realized what we were talking about.
I think at one point I said, oops.
Yeah, they were like, at that point, we're just all super tired. Like, oh, fuck it. Fuck you, Dalton. And then Rutherford's yelling about my team speaks beeping. I told him, like, hold the fuck on. I'm like, I still got an hour and a half left of this stint.
Yeah, Mark had mentioned it to me, and I went over and I looked at your stream and all your computers. I'm like, I don't want to touch anything because I'm going to fuck it up. So it's going to keep beeping until he's done. I was too scared to touch any of the buttons. I'm like, I don't know what's causing it. I'm not touching anything.
Yeah, trying to stream for 24 hours. She cuts it off after 4.
Yeah. Nope. Deal with the beep until he's out of the rig.
That's not what Chris said, Josh. That's not what Chris told me.
Your going live notification, Corey, woke me up in the middle of the night. I'm trying to take a rest before I get back up to a spot. I'm laying on the couch in my game room, and I hear the fucking phone go off. I'm like, what the fuck? Who's texting me at 1 a.m? I get up, and it's fucking TNA's going live. Motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't... Because I looked it up before we started streaming. I guess Facebook goes for 8 hours, and then YouTube goes for 12 hours. Well, I checked Facebook after the 8 hours and it was still going, so I'm like, fuck this, I'm just letting them all ride. You can't go back and watch it though, but yeah, we streamed for, I think, what did we say, 25 hours, Terry, by the time we were done, we did the count.
Yep. Which that's pretty cool. I mean, so anyway, I'm the only one that talked about my race.
Yeah, let's hear about your race, Terry Bear.
Damn. So it seemed like every time I was able to get in the car, had to get it fixed a little bit. Not a lot. Actually, Corey, I think you had to get it fixed once or twice after you got into it. I don't know. But Corey and I noticed once they got that car fixed that we took all the optional and the required, fucking car was fast.
Yeah, brand new.
Yes, it was definitely a brand new car. I had a brand new car when I pulled out of the pits. I got into turn 1, somebody fucking just slammed me. And I just sat there in the track in his way so he couldn't fucking move. I did that on purpose. Then he hit me in my side door. But I didn't give a shit, man. But other than that, man, I had a great time. Got a little tired there toward the end of my last stint, into Corey's last stint. I think he and I were both a little slap happy. We've both been up all this time. We're tired. I think I got a total of 2 hours sleep from the time I got up Saturday morning till I laid back down actually for Sunday afternoon. And I was just wore out.
I think the one time you came back on, that's when the car was wrecked. You're like, did we wreck? Like,
yeah, I was like, what the hell in my car? But yeah, because I was getting in the car here shortly after that, I think. But
that's the hardest thing to make it go take a rest is you're giving the car up to your teammates and you have no control over it.
Right.
And you got to go try to rest. And the whole time you're like, how's the car? How's the car?
What am I coming back to?
And that is exactly what I was doing too, Dave, is I laid on the couch for a little bit. When I was watching TV with my wife and stuff, I took about an hour nap. I wake up, it's like, I got to see what the fuck's going on. That's when I walked in here. It's like, why is a car in the pits? Okay, I can understand if maybe a couple minutes driver change, getting tires and all the fuel, blah, blah, blah.
I understand that a couple of times.
But 20 minutes is like, what the fuck happened to the car?
Walk away for a while, come back, check it in. Okay, why are we in the pits?
When Philip got out after I think your first stint, and then I ran out and I smoked a cigarette or something, I came back and Aaron's still in the pits. I'm like, why are you still in the pits area? I fucking hit the wall on the first lap, and I'm like, ooh, 20 minutes of damage. I'm like, I shouldn't even ask.
I mean, because I think Corey, if you can remember, at one time we were up in the top 20, top 15.
Yeah, we after the first incident, we dropped down to 26th, 27th, and we made our way back up to 19th. Then we got another incident. Then we dropped back down. Then we made our way back up to 20th. Then we got another incident and went back.
It seems like every time I got in the car, I had to move us back forward again. So
yeah, Terry, you were the biggest mover for us.
But I had a great
we dropped
time.
Down a few times and had to muscle. It was hard to muscle back because you'd find yourself 8, 9, 10 laps, away from the next guy in line, where you're like, fuck, just hoping that they would have an incident. And we were counting, me, Philip, Aaron, Mark. We'd sit there and go, they've been in the pits for a while. They got a good amount of damage. Do whatever you can do to be consistent and gain as many as you can on them. And there was a few we passed that way. They were in there 20 minutes at a time and started gaining ground, because I think we were down to 34th or 35th for a bit and kept working our way back up.
Yeah, whenever we had
endurance
an incident,
racing's definitely like your credit score. Easy to tank, hard to get it back.
Yeah, that's what I kept reminding them every time we had an incident. I was like, hey guys, I'm like, we still have fucking 12 hours left. I'm like, there's tons of time for people to fuck up. I'm like, we just gotta keep going, keep her on the track.
So I don't know about you guys, but I know I'm spotting for Corey for his last stint. That hour, if actually it was 50 minutes or so, that last 50 minutes seemed like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Because I kept looking up there, it's like, fuck, man, we still got 45 minutes. Fuck, we still got 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, usually when you hear 10 laps to go, you're like, oh, that's not bad. So my second stint where I'm like, my right arm started cramping up at everything, especially because I was still on push to talk for all of spotting. So I'm holding the wheel and hitting my button because Corey's streaming, all that noise would have gone through if I was on voice activity. So I was using push to talk. So the end of my stint, I had a shearing pain going all the way up my forearm on my right arm. So sitting there, Mark's like, okay, you got 18 laps left. And then I forget who was jumping in. I think either Mark or Aaron was jumping in after me. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, 18, that's not bad. I'm like, no, that's still a lot of fucking time. And I'm like, this is excruciating. 18 laps is usually nothing in a BPL race. You're like, oh, great, I'll be smoking a cigarette in 5 minutes. Not in the 24.
Yeah,
So wait a
my
minute.
wrists
So
were
wait.
killing me from all the fucking shifting, and I must have been death gripping that wheel for a lot of the time.
So Corey and Amanda, a question for you guys both. Neither one of you smoked while you was driving?
I had a vape. So
No. A cigarette.
no, I couldn't. I can't.
No, I
smoke
didn't.
a cigarette while driving.
So what I did, and I was. So what I done, the way I have my desk over here on my right hand side of my mouse is, my cigarettes are sitting there, and I have them pulled out so far. All I gotta do is reach them and grab it. So I put it in my mouth. I do another lap. When I come out of the bus stop and get into sixth gear, I take my left knee and hold my wheel so it doesn't move. Lift my visor up, bam.
Nope, I had a vape and I would get on the backstretch. I would throw the vape in my mouth, hold it between my teeth, and I would just like vape as hard as I could before I got to about turn one.
Oh
Every now
shit!
and then I would hold it in my mouth till I got around, but then I would hit as many times as I could, put it right back down next to my cup because I didn't even drink during it. I didn't want to fuck anybody over or anything. I just drank Red Bulls and stuff. Put the vape down, go a couple more laps, pick it up, hold it in my mouth, hit the vape as many times as I could, and I just did that during all my stints. I smoked during spotting.
Yeah,
I'll talk about that.
I just chain smoked before I did my stint.
Yeah, I was when I was spotting for everybody. So
Well, see, you guys are in the same room. You just have to help each other out with secondhand smoke.
that's
They'll
what I
just go
was
over and
thinking.
smoke in their face.
Yeah, just keep blowing it at her.
I would get jealous when I'd smell his going, I want a real cigarette because I could smell it and then it would start making me crave it more. But just muscle through. And that's how I do it for BPL too. Like I can't, I just ash every place. Corey has ashes all over the floor
Oh
when he's trying to
God!
do it. So
Yeah.
I just vape. It makes it easier.
Yes, I did, Mark. I don't want to talk about it right now though, but yes, I did.
Yeah, the last couple of stints in our race went really fast, but we were focusing on the car behind us and watching the gap to try to maintain since we were damaged, and they were a little bit quicker per lap, but then they were pushing so hard. I don't know if they damaged their car or what, but then we started holding them, you know, right at that gap and we're able to hold it. But that whole time we're like, every time we come across, we're like reading out our lap, their lap, and the gap between us, and it's like every lap is like just trying to maintain that gap. So it went really, really quick.
Yeah, the time definitely went quick when you were in car. I'll tell you that.
It did. I didn't realize I was in there over 7 hours. I had no clue.
My first stint that was only 2 hours because Aaron bailed me out felt excruciatingly long because I was so nervous and I thought it would be gone within a half hour, but the nerves stayed there and I was paranoid the entire time I was going to fuck up or get hit again. And Philip kept me calm a lot of it, but still it was in the back of my mind. The second stint, when I realized I could handle it a little better, did go a lot faster, but it still fucking feels like close to 3 hours. So anybody who says it doesn't, I beg to differ.
Oh, sure it does. It does. Even with
But I
these
couldn't.
spotting, I mean, it's horrible.
So the funny thing is, I made sure I spaced out any type of like Red Bulls and coffee and tea, so I didn't have bathroom emergencies. First 2 hour stint, had to go to the bathroom right away. Second one, I did my 3 hour stint, said I'm gonna go have a smoke, go pee. I'll come back, spot. Never peed. Realized I had a smoke. I let the dogs out. I sat down. I spotted, I think, for Aaron for 3 hours or something. Then went a little bit longer. Realized I went like 7 hours without going to the bathroom. I'm like, how did I barely make it two? I know Chris didn't get an hour in with you guys. I heard you guys making fun of him because he had to pee the
Yeah, we
first
did.
hour and you guys had to pit and take tires.
That's the secret to fast lap times. Have to go to the bathroom. You're on the edge of your fucking seat. Just don't screw it up.
I already figured out how to fix that.
So that's where I'm going right now, Corey. So we're all sitting there talking about bathrooms. And first off, Corey, before I get to you, me being a truck driver, I don't go to the bathroom a whole lot during my day. Maybe once every 3-4 hours. Because I forget I have to go when I'm just doing this shit all the time. So
that doesn't look like safe driving.
It's all right. So Saturday night into Sunday morning, one Mr. Corey Sherman, he went to the bathroom. How'd you do that, Corey?
Well,
so gross.
Amazon's a great site to buy stuff off. So I bought a portable urinal, and it got delivered at 6 or 7 p.m. that day. So I just strapped that bitch on, and I could go pee whenever I wanted. Then Amanda yelled at me.
So I knew it was happening. And then when he was done and he stood up, I'm like, I can smell it. Get it the fuck out of here. Like, ew.
So basically, Corey had a catheter on the outside.
No, yeah. It's a little weird at first, but then you're just like, oh, this is pretty awesome. But I didn't use it while I was racing. I just used it when I was in the pits.
That just sounds weird in general.
It does, doesn't it, Dave? It does.
Hashtag dedication.
Loyalty right there,
Dedication's just
brother.
going in your drawers if you have to go. That's dedication.
Well, I sit on like a nice memory foam seat thing, so I didn't want to get that all wet.
So I was telling Mark, and like I've dealt with it all, a BPL and everything. So my rig back there, the one with the white and the blue, the seat is broken backwards a little bit, and eventually we'll get a new one. But I have like a therapeutic back thing to kind of give it a little space. But it sits like ghetto. It sits really angled back, so I sit far back. So I spend any one of my races leaned forward and I have to hold my body up. I'm not leaning
Ooh.
against anything other than the very lower back. So I have to hold my body tense the entire time holding it up. So by the time I was done, just fucking knots every place. It
That's
was
terrible.
brutal. It was absolutely awful. But standing up, but like Terry said, like I found myself anytime I was on the back stretch trying to do this. And at one point I leaned back, and I think Mark was spotting for me, and I said, "I'm like, I just cracked every single piece of my spine all the way up the back. I thought I almost paralyzed myself while driving."
Good thing you don't have my pedal set up. You hit the brake pedal and you fall on your butt. Break the back of the seat off.
Oh my gosh, I was like, I can't wait. Eventually, I'm gonna get a new seat that actually like is flush with my back.
You know they're not that expensive on Amazon.
I just haven't even bothered or
Yeah, I
looked,
need a new
and
one
I have
too.
to.
Me and my buddy actually we had to get a part for our van, so we went to the junkyard. I tried out almost every sports car seat in that junkyard. I was gonna take one of those and use that for my seat, but a lot of them were electric, so we couldn't get them off.
I actually got it's NRG like shell seat, and you just sit in it and you can't move side to side, and it just lean into it. You don't want something that's super cushy. You want something that has support. You don't want to be able to move around.
See, I
I've
gotta
got
be able to
side
lean
rails on
out
mine.
because even during the 24, like going around the corners, I felt myself like leaning with the corners. So I
Yeah.
have to be able to do that.
No, there's no leaning, because like if you look at my seat right there, like you literally sit down in the seat, like you're in, like locked in.
I don't know what a GT racing chair is. What's that?
It's one of the top. I don't know if it's top line, but it's a pretty good one.
I was thinking of looking around and finding one because it's getting to the point where it hurts. So, but yeah, if I can't lean, like especially short tracks during BPL, like I realize I'm all the way over when I'm racing those tracks.
Well, you got that new management position. They sell office chairs that has the Recaro out of a Porsche 911 mounted to it. Just buy one of those, rip the pedestal off, and mount it to your rig.
Ooh.
Fuck no, keep the pedestal. Just
Like a
spin and get out.
It's like a $2,000 seat.
Oh jeez, I am.
I was
really
looking for a
cheap, so-
junkyard $40 seat.
There you go. So I'm glad everybody had fun. So Dave, are you guys looking at something else to do yet this in the endurance yet this
Oh,
more?
fuck,
or
I'll
not?
run every goddamn one of them if I can. I
Okay.
love endurance racing.
Okay.
I mean, just the team aspect of it is
Sure.
it's so much fun. Like, it's one thing to go do an official race and you fuck up, it's your own car. Like, it only hurts yourself. But when you're racing in a team and in the back of your mind, it's like, I'm not the only one driving this car. Like, you trying to give it, I just think that adds a whole nother challenge, and I enjoy.
And you don't want to be
Doing
the
that.
one to screw it up.
Yeah.
Fuck no, 'cause
Exactly.
especially in our group, like we're not mean about it, but we definitely rib the guy that fucks the car up. Like,
Yep.
my buddy Rob binned the car at Spa, and we had like 3 hours of required repairs because it glitched into the wall and literally blew every panel of the car off, blew the engine. We still give him shit about it. Like, I told him we're gonna do a paint livery for the next endurance race we have. They're just gonna have X's everywhere on the car and say "not here, not here." And I'm gonna put on the car, like in the doors and stuff, like "hit here," so he can know where to use the car. But
Where to aim.
yeah,
Corey, is that the same chair that you're sitting in? That's what Josh just sent.
Yeah, it looks pretty close.
Well, looks like this. We
So-
have a spare one behind us someplace. Yeah, I'll have
Philip,
to
are
rip that
you
apart.
looking to do any more other than the Daytona?
If time allows,
personally am
that's my
not.
problem.
Okay.
I probably won't, but just because time's probably not going to allow
Right.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Amanda?
I made special concessions just to
Right. So
be
did
able
I.
to run this one. So
What was
yeah.
the question?
Do you see yourself doing any more 24s or an endurance this season?
I would do another one depending on like work schedule and stuff like that. Depending on if time allots for it, I would do another one and the teammates and everything involved, like who would be committed and
Right.
that kind of stuff. So yeah, I would consider doing another one and then spacing out, some rest and everything because I tried to go the entire time and just like I said, I crashed out on the dog couch thinking 30-minute nap, and at some point I literally pulled a dirty dog blanket off the floor and rolled it over me and passed
Dang.
out over there and
They
woke
tucked
up
her in with
to
it.
Corey. Yeah, woke up to him laughing and yelling at the stream. I'm like, the fuck is going on in here? I'm like, oh yeah, it's the 24.
Was that when Phoenix was dying, eating hot chocolate and sour things?
Yeah, I heard him yelling
No,
at
I
something.
think she was spotting at that point.
That's so much fun, like tormenting him with that, and like you have to time it perfectly. So like when he does a league race and stuff, you make him eat hot chocolate just before he has to qualify. His fucking eyes are watering. He's choking on it.
But I would definitely consider it again. But I'd have to make sure I planned out like rest and everything like that because I tried to be a champion and go the whole time, but I could feel myself starting like that, like literally sitting there. Thank goodness, I think Philip was in there. Somebody else was. I think you were spotting too, and like I was trying to help, and then I realized I was like, no, I got to give up for a little bit.
Corey and Amanda are definitely running another one this season because we're gonna make them. They're gonna be on our team.
There you go. There you go. I know I'm not. Daytona's the only ones I'll ever do, but I know Corey said, "Man, I ain't doing that no more. I just hurt.
I'm retired.
I was like, you know what? After a few days, you'll be fine. You'll be okay.
I just gotta actually
do next season.
Take my rest. We just got thrown that monkey wrench halfway through where we had to figure out and all that, and then
yeah.
I'm like, well, I might as well help out since I gotta stay up more.
It's stuff that we couldn't overcome for one.
Yeah.
But it's stuff we didn't foresee. Again, Dave, their team went in with 4, ended with 3. Philip went in with a damn good race car or his rig and stuff working fine. He had to change it all out. We went in with 4, had to finish with 3. I mean, so there was so much around that we all had to, and I don't know about Josh and Dalton and all those guys. I don't know. They had to overcome something or not. Actually,
they said he wrote in there that I think Corey's computer shit the bed on him.
Right.
Oh no, his computer did, and then Corey got sick.
Yeah.
So all 4 of us teams, we had to overcome something to finish this 24, and we all finished at 24. We got to see the checkered flag. I mean, I can go. Okay, well, let me do something here real quick.
The biggest aspect is teamwork. You guys helped Rick out when he couldn't get back in. Aaron saw I was struggling mentally with nerves for a bit, and so he jumped in early and he took a long stint and everything. And it's like the teamwork aspect of it, like I said, was one of my favorite parts of it, and the camaraderie and helping each other get through it. So that was a huge part of it, why I liked it.
That's like the fuel calculation for the end of the race for us.
Ooh.
Aaron was going to short us big time, so I had to recalculate. I said, "Hey, that's not right. That's not right."
Yeah.
So we had to changing.
You got to calculate that one extra lap possibility because of where, it's a timed race. It's not a lapped race, so it depends on where the leader takes the lap on the final one, if they get that extra lap or not.
That's
like
that's
Mark
why,
said, there was a couple people on the apron, right, Philip? Like barely coasting along the last lap or two. Like, the fuck's this guy doing?
Well, I've been using race apps for all the fuel calculations for since I got back into racing, and I tell you what, at the Daytona 24, that worked excellent for me, and then it told me exactly how many laps we needed to do or we were going to do in the time allotted, and I tell you what, it was right down to
ours. It got tricky though, because ours, the last bit of the race, it altered because the guys in front got super conservative because they were leading by 8 laps, and they dropped their pace a lot. So then all of a sudden the amount of laps kept changing how the estimated that we are going to make is like, fuck, if I don't want to commit to this, and all of a sudden they pick up the pace again, and then we got that one extra. So we went till we were good. I went 2 extra laps and we filled her up. It's like, I'd rather take that. We pitted after the guys that were behind us anyway, so we had to take less fuel overall. So I took extra fuel just to guarantee we were making the end. Because I actually ran out of fuel. I ran out of fuel earlier in the week in the IMSA race because that happened to us. We got 1 extra lap in the race, and it didn't calculate for that, and I ran out of gas coming out of the bus stop.
No, that would suck, man.
I still finished 5th because I was ahead enough that by the time it stopped scoring, nobody else had gotten around. But I was racing 2nd place and then dropped to 5th because I ran out of gas. It's like, fuck.
No, that does suck.
So
that's what we did once we recalculated and added a couple of gallons just to make sure that if we had to go another lap or 2.
That's what we did. I had to give Corey 3 gallons so he could finish. So
I also mapped a secondary clutch button to my wheel. So like if I was following somebody, I could just like at the 3 board at the bus stop and the start finish line, I could just clutch it, let it roll in, and then pop it and downshift and brake into the turn, save some fuel that way.
I was gonna try that, but I've never tried clutching the Porsche before. I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm not gonna fucking try it right now.
Well,
that's about 3 laps to
I
go.
mapped a secondary button to the wheel. I didn't try using the pedal.
Yeah, I do that for the oval races. I have one, but I changed it to, I think, do the brake bias on those cars.
Yeah. So yeah, I did that for a little bit. It actually wasn't bad. The thing that's weird is you can actually send it deeper into the corner because you're not running it full pace all the way up, and you've already started slowing down. So you actually have to go a little further than your normal brake point because you've already started that slowdown period. So but every race you learn something. Like my buddy Rob, he learned that you don't follow a car into a heavy braking zone right behind them. He had a Ferrari that was in front of him that broke a little harder than he was expecting, and he gave him an anal exam. You gotta keep that car half over so you have an exit and you also have some air on the front.
Yep, yeah, buddy.
So you just learn something every race.
So with what I said about we all finished the start finish line there at the end, all 3 of our 4, says Full Weeb and the Teenage Turtle, we was both in the same split. But all 4 of us had 49 starters in the race. We ended up in my split. We had 18 disconnects and 1 DQ. In the Lions split, TNA Motorsports Lion, they had 49 with 17 disconnects, 1 DQ. And Limitless, you guys had 49. When the hell's it at? I just seen it. You guys had 15 disconnects with 2 DQ. So yeah, you lost some of the field, but fuck, man. We saw the checkered flag. That is what I am so proud of everybody. We put an effort. Amanda, you said it at the beginning, top of the show. We come on as a team. Yeah, we was in split teams, and we were there for each other for the whole race. And I'm sure Dave and his team was the same way. Encouragement. There's a couple times I had to get on Chris. I could tell he was getting tired. He was braking really, really late and trying to make the car do something he didn't want to do. Buddy, wake up a little bit, back it up a little bit, pay attention a little more. And he did. Corey, I noticed when he was getting tired at the end, I don't think I said a lot to him. I just take your time. Let's get through here. Let's get this race done. Let's go home. So I think we all done a great job myself, and I'm looking forward to doing it again next season.
Oh, yeah. I mean, these endurance races,
I had a blast.
The endurance races, the spotter really is the unsung hero. You always look at the guys in the cars, the guys that are getting it done, but you need that spotter to keep that driver on track and let him know what's going on and stuff, because you can only look ahead so far. And from my experience
really
in
surprised
VR,
how patient Aaron was with me spotting, and very patient, and I actually felt like I was helping him because he was responding so well to it, and like I thought he'd be like, "Shut up, Amanda," but playfully and everything. But like you were saying, like it seemed like it was so helpful. Like, and I knew it would be helpful being anybody spotting or anything, but
Yeah.
it was such a key component, and that's why I enjoyed it so much. Because it was like I really feel like I'm helping just as much as if I was good on a track.
Right.
Mark, I'm just going by with what I pulled off of iRacing today. So I don't know actually how many didn't start the race. It might have been, and I think you guys actually had 17 also. So I just pulled everything off what iRacing gave me this morning when I was looking at it. So yeah, we probably had 17 that didn't start the race. Don't care. I still crossed, well, Corey finished the race, but
I
we
lived
crossed the finish line after 24 hours. We all finished the race. So
I could tell he was tired because I figured he'd stay up and chit chat and do whatever. He got out of the rig because I was in still.
He
We were all in
disappeared
our
in a
team
hurry.
speak. Yeah, we were all still in team speak and we reviewed our numbers. They pulled up
Yeah,
iRace. We were in team speak
yeah,
for another 20, 30 minutes afterwards. I turned around like
yeah,
a minute after Corey got out, shit was shut down and he was gone. I'm like,
yeah.
he
well,
Yeah,
is
I even told
literally
Terry
gone.
I didn't even do a cooldown lap. I just fucking parked that bitch as soon as I crossed the start finish line. I'm like, I'm going to fucking bed, guys. See you later.
Well, that's what I
Yeah,
said to Mark. Mark did the cool down lap. I'm like, Corey just pulled that shit to the side and
yep.
disconnected. He
yeah,
was done.
Well,
yeah.
I asked Corey late, and might have been on that last. I don't know when it was. Corey, how's Lion doing over there? He looked. He says, "Well, Amanda's over there sound asleep on the dog couch, so I don't know what they're
So
doing."
I knew that we had Philip and Aaron and Mark in there leading the show and everything. I'm like, I literally, as they were talking and chatting and stuff, I felt myself doing this headset VR, like balanced on my face. I started going, picking it up, going. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, but I gotta go lay down for a little bit. Like, I'll be back, and I
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
Yeah. That is probably the hardest thing to learn and do is to be able to walk away, trust your team enough to be able to go and get rest because it's very hard to be able to manage without it.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah.
I also knew that at that point my stints were over because mine were earlier. I was scheduled to do a 10-1, and I think what the hell was it, a 7-10 or something. So I thought the hardest parts were going to be the later ones. So Aaron went up after my second one, and I think it was going to be Philip and Mark. So it's like, okay, I should be able to muscle through because they have the later ones. So I stayed up as long as I could. I think I made it till what, like 1:30 in the morning, and I was like, that's when it started going. I'm like, you shouldn't be this tired because they still have the hard parts to go. So, but once I try to force myself to stay awake, it gets worse. No matter what we're doing, even if we're watching a movie on the couch, if I try to force myself, it got
Yeah.
worse very
But
quick.
that's also that energy drink crash. It's very aggressive, and that's why honestly, water is the best thing to drink when you're doing these kinds of events because you don't have that high, but you don't have that crash. You just have that level energy, and it's easier to maintain. But because the worst thing you want to do is have that crash when you're in the car and you're struggling to stay
Oh,
awake.
I would say the last 30 minutes of my second stint, I don't know if they could tell. I'm sure like Philip like sees a lot and doesn't always say a lot, but he sees it. But you could see I was letting off a little earlier and then kind of rolling through the corners because I knew I was getting so tired and exhausted that I just had to be more gentle. And you saw my 148s, 149s because I wasn't as fast turn in the 150s, 151s because I was too tired to push it and I was gonna fuck up. So
Yeah. Yeah, energy drinks are definitely your enemy when it comes to this kind of thing.
I had some Gatorades and some waters mixed in, but I
Yeah.
definitely had to have some energy drinks to keep it going.
So I don't know if
But
anybody noticed, we moved to a new garage here. We're about
Had to make it bigger.
Yeah, we had to get bigger. We got more people on the team, so we got to send those Porsches to the scrap yard because I don't think they're worth anything anymore. But we got mine and Amanda's car in here. We got a couple more coming off the paint line that are gonna get added in, and then we just gotta have some other people finalize their paints, and we'll get this garage filled up for the upcoming season.
I think we have to figure something out with the chat though, because it hides it.
It's fine.
It's
Oh,
fine.
it does, doesn't it? I just realized that.
You can still see behind it.
Josh said he had 2 monsters and Brian had 4. I had a Red Bull and 2 monsters. So I had 3 energy drinks from 5:30 in the morning. I think I had my first energy drink at like 9 in the morning, but because coffee makes me have to pee. So I spaced them out. I think like 9 something in the morning, like 2 in the afternoon. I think I did one my second stint between 8 and 11:30 or something, and then Aaron took over. But I had 3 total.
I had some tea, but that was about it.
Yeah, that's all I did was I had some tea but mostly water.
Water here too.
I had Propel and water when I was racing.
You had a bunch of beer.
Oh, a lot of beer when I was spotting.
I mean, that's basically water.
Yeah.
I've seen the beer he drinks. Pussy.
Yeah, then I figured out how to sober up in an hour.
Is that peeing in that urinal?
No, luckily that came for after I had all the beers.
But no, I'm glad
jumping out into a snowdrift.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I know we put a lot of time into it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
And just the practices were fun too. I mean, some of them were a little frustrating because some of those AI guys were fucking assholes, and like
Yeah.
they would
yeah,
just
but
punt you on the straightaway and everything.
but
But it was still fun.
That's what you get in the officials, and I was surprised. Like I had never used AI before, and I was like, it would probably be good if we can try to get something like that so they can get some practice around traffic in a race. I was surprised how aggressive the AI were. Like I was not expecting them to be that aggressive. But you could pressure the AI and they would make a mistake. I was surprised. I'm definitely going to utilize that more for practice sessions, especially if we're fielding an LMP2 car for Sebring.
Oh yeah.
That's going to take some practice.
Right.
Well, you made the exact scenario. It's how I am. I could practice by myself and feel like I'm doing great. You throw a bunch of people around me and I start to get nervous. So
Yeah.
that was definitely helpful doing that. And then obviously you helping me get through the officials and everything to get my license up in time. But I've got to be around some form of car, whether it's a real life person behind it in a sim rig or AI, because I have to be around the traffic or I'll never learn it the right way.
Yeah.
To be able to go off my preferred line, because that did help me having all that practice with the AI guys and realizing, oh shit, I got to go into the bus stop at a different angle. I got to do this, I got to do that, because I practice it with the AI guys, realizing I can't just have my line when I want it.
Right. And that's the thing, like I'm sure you guys probably noticed it. Like if you pressured somebody hard enough, there's a good percentage of people that only knew one line through turn 1. And if you put them off that line, they would yield. They couldn't muscle it in there on any other line. I couldn't tell you how many people I would muscle going into turn 1, either all the way in on the left side by the grass or singing it down on the outside, coming all the way out by the line and then cutting in. And people didn't see it coming. So like if you had the gap behind you, they're in the middle, you're all the way on the outside and you start slowing down. And then they're trying to hold you off, so they run wide, and you just cut it in and go right underneath of them and shoot into the S's. They never see it coming.
Yeah, I did that numerous times doing
Yeah,
that.
people
from
just
the outside in.
Yeah, they just people can't practice. They don't practice it, and they can't run turn 1 more than one line in. And if you can learn that, you're going to be very hard to beat in the turn 1. And that's probably one of the most utilized passing zones, and you can hold somebody off there forever if you know how to do it.
Oh yeah.
And that's the racecraft part. That's the fun part, learning that racecraft and being able to use it. Like when you can pull off an awesome pass or something like that, that's when you really start to feel it.
Alrighty then. That got quiet real damn quick. Now, didn't it? I don't have anything else for anybody, just other than what I've already. I don't repeat myself constantly, but had a great time. I look forward. Yeah, Philip.
That mic's a little bit too low yet. There you go.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Ouch! God damn it! Just Sorry, Mark, if you're listening.
I apologize to him, I think, 2 or 3 times
Thumb, man.
in TeamSpeak for hollering that out. I'm like, I'm sorry.
So it sounds like we all had a great time. I'm sitting there seeing somebody talking about doing a spa. What is the spa there, Dave?
There's multiple different ones. There's like the 12 hours of spa, which is like the
They're doing
VCO race,
24.
and then there's the 24 hours of spa, which is all GT3 cars.
Okay.
That was the one we were doing. We were second place, going for first place, and like I was in the car next over like at the 11-hour 30-minute mark, and my buddy had a moment at Blanchiment and pinned the car into the wall and completely destroyed it.
And where is that race at?
Spa.
Okay, where is that at?
Spa.
It's in.
You're gonna make me
Belgium.
look this up, ain't you? Where?
Belgium.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. That's the track that has the like world-renowned Eau Rouge and Radial turn. It's like a full commitment down into a gully, and then you go up the hill and the left-hand turn that leads out on the Camel Straight.
Okay.
But it's a full commit, flat to the floor, and on the seat of your pants fucking moment. But if you don't commit, the next straightaway is almost a mile long, so you'll be dog ass slow if you don't.
Mhm.
But that is my favorite track of all time. My favorite American track is the Glen, but my all-time favorite is Spa. It's just super technical. It's and it's out in the Ardennes forest. It's a beautiful track.
I am very partial to the Glen now. Are there any 24 hours there?
No. There's the 6 hours at the Glen.
Yeah.
That'll be in June.
Ah.
Because that'll be the week before me and my buddy Rob go up and see it, because he's already got campground set, so we're going up for the full weekend in June, at the end of June, for the 6 hours at the Glen.
I'm looking for this track.
An hour of damage, Josh. Oh, jeez.
Terry's just looking up spa packages now.
Listen to that giggle.
If you're looking for it, it's going to be under C. It's Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps.
Shit, it's all way up
he
here.
can't spell that. He's like Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, look for Circuit.
Concord, 24-hour Le Mans, Chicago, Charlotte, Centipede,
That's the test track.
Yeah. Cedar Lake, Canadian Tire, Concord, and it goes to Darlington.
Is that tracks you own or tracks
that's
you
just
have to
tracks
buy?
he owns.
No, you probably got to buy it.
No, I got to. Well, what the fuck am I looking at here then?
You're looking at the tracks you own.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it is.
Go to the store and go to tracks.
Buy tracks. How's that? Ah. Oh wow, there's a lot of them. I don't own. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
No, that's in Canada.
That's in Canada.
Circuit Park.
No.
Circuit Zolder.
Nope.
Circuit del Barcelona.
Nope.
Circuit de Spa.
That one.
Let's see what this looks like. If it shows it or not.
It actually looks like a water pistol.
Oh fuck! It does.
But yeah, the world famous, like, if you look at the top left, the left corner, it has like a really tight, like, turn.
See if I can grab a picture for the viewers.
I can't even remember. Like, that's probably what? I don't even know. Not gonna try. But that comes down, and you see like that little squiggle after it, and then that really long straightaway.
Yeah.
That little squiggle is Eau Rouge and Radial. It literally, you're from that really hard hairpin, you're going downhill, and right that first little left, you're at the bottom of the hill. It turns right, and you shoot straight up, probably 3 stories.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns left, and that whole time you're in 5th gear, flat to the floor, and it's like on my DD wheel, there's so much load on the car, you can't turn the wheel. Like it literally loaded that much.
Huh.
It's insane. But it's super
looks like a fun track.
Oh, like I said, it's a really fun track. Then you have there's a really long left-hander. They call it Puha. That turn, it's a third gear entry, and then like you gotta like hang it out, and you'll see a lot of people get a 1X because there's a lot of runoff there.
Mm-hmm.
But
There, I
the
got it right on
there
the
it is.
screen.
Rivage is probably the dangerous corner on that track.
Which
Other
one?
than Eau Rouge, Rivage, because it's a downhill
Oh, I see
180
it.
degree turn
Back
that
to the
goes down
right.
into no name corner. And if you get, it's a banked or it's an off camber corner. So you
Yeah.
need to get into the apex. If somebody shoots it down underneath of you and you didn't break enough for that and you were breaking as much as you
See
normally
ya.
do, you're into the sand trap. You're gone. Because the corner just falls away, you're dead.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
it's a super
I
fun
always
track.
hated that corner. I hated that corner.
Yeah. But that track at night it's magical because Daytona's lit. Like it's even at night it's lit up. Spa, the only place there's lights is at the pit lane where the lights from pits. The rest of it, you're in the pitch black forest. So the only lights you have is your car. And then when you get to the top of the hill that comes out of the Camel Straight into I can't remember the name of the chicane at the current moment.
Les Combs.
Yeah, Lacombe. When you look to the right, you can actually see the lights from pit lane at the top of the hill because that's down in the valley. And then from there, you drop back down again and go all the way down, through Eau Rouge down into the bottom corners and then back out through up to the bus stop. It's a really fun track, but it's super technical. You'll 1X the shit out of that track.
Yeah, I don't see me doing it. Not at dark time anyway.
Oh, dude, I don't know. I love racing at night. It's just something magical about it. You find pace in the car. It's just you in the car.
Makes my frames per second go down, so I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, night with shadows and stuff. I mean, you might be able to turn shadows and stuff down, but that's another thing though where I have my monitor and it just looks fucking gorgeous. Like, and that's why I would struggle with VR. Like,
Yeah, I was
I'm
down to
definitely
like 40 to 50 during nighttime, and then
oh,
like
jeez. No wonder
80
your
during the
equilibrium was
day.
off.
Oh my gosh, it was horrible. Like, when practice and stuff where they're like, go to this spot, that spot. I'm like, I don't fucking see that spot when it's nighttime. I have to find very obvious things like the signs and the grass. I'm like, I can't see that when it's nighttime. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's why I don't, like I said, I tried VR and the fidelity of it, like that the ultra wide 49-inch monitor, I get good FOV and the image is so clear, and like coming out of the bus stop, I could see all the way up and around turn 4 at Daytona perfectly clear. So if something was going wrong, I can see it. I can plan for it. In VR, it looked like a fucking Nintendo game. I couldn't see shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's what I have, Dave, is a G9. So
it's fucking like I would love to do triples, and I might eventually, but that monitor is just. And
well, this works great. I mean,
have you
that wide?
with the newest update? Did you go in and reset up your display? Because you can now set it as a 3-monitor setup as a one.
Yes.
Oh, dude, it's so like I can
Yes.
almost see the right window. It's fucking amazing.
Yep. Yeah, that was something that I didn't know they did. I just was screwing around with the settings a little bit when we first started practice, and I went, well, "What is this?" And I went, 3-monitor. Okay, well let's try that.
Did you set the curve correctly? Because like the UI tries to set the curve at 1800 and it's a 1000 curve, and when you do that, it's nice and linear. And like on the Ferrari, it has that little camera for the rear view mirror. It's not all janky and like facing the right and shit.
Right.
So
right.
but yeah,
Yeah,
I
it made a
don't know.
big difference doing that update
Yeah.
and everything. So,
Yeah, I don't know
yeah.
that I could go to VR for that reason. Like, I like having the ability to see ahead of me and see what cars are, because like I can see the car just like it's right in front of me in VR. Like I can see the
Mhm.
paint scheme and stuff like that, so I know who it is
Mhm.
from racing around them. So I know what's coming, and
Mhm.
you can't do that in VR.
Right.
VR is all about what's right in front of you, and racing's not about what's right in front of you. It's about what's all around you. But that's me personally.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't run VR anymore. It's just I'm getting old, so it's starting to affect me. So that's why I had to get out of it. So
Yeah.
I
So I
couldn't do it
won-
no other way no more. There's no way.
I've got two VR sets for sale if anybody wants them.
How
So
many butt kickers you got, Philip? Like 20?
I've only got the one.
He's got two, one left foot and one right foot. What do you want?
I haven't received the other one.
Oh,
What?
shit.
Mm-mm.
Mark, I hope you're listening to this.
Mark
the hell,
fucks
Mark?
Philip's butt kicker.
But
Yeah,
Well,
Mark.
it's no big deal, but
Oh, well.
anyway. Yeah. So I only have one.
that's not something I haven't tried that yet.
A butt
Yeah.
kicker?
Yeah. I didn't know if
It's-
it's worth really spending the money on.
You got to get it set up right. If it is, then and in the right spot, yeah, I can tell when the car's starting to slip. I can tell that just by
Yeah.
that now. But it's taken me a lot of tweaking here and there to get
Yeah.
it. So, but
Alrighty, well, I think that's the end of our recap show for the 24. We'll be back. When did we start? March?
We're
February,
not
March.
exactly sure yet, but
We're
very
still
end of
figuring that
February,
out.
very beginning of March.
Yeah. So around end of February, March, we'll do a show before the season starts. Get a little how everybody's gonna do for the season. Get all the TNA members in here. Hopefully we can get Aaron in here. You know how hard it is for
Aaron, that name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's good thing we got Amanda so we can still use TNA.
All right.
But thanks for coming on, Dave, to recap your race. Thanks, Philip, for coming on. Well, it's kind of it's your team duty, so
Yeah.
I don't mind.
And as always, great job, Terror Bear. Thanks, Amanda, too.
Of course.
And
No
like I
problem.
said, stay tuned for TNA Motorsports. We'll be doing updates for you guys. See when we come back on, start doing Shop Talk Live again, and should be another fun-filled season of Shop Talk. I mean, they gave us another season extension, so I guess we're doing something right.
Hell yeah.
So we will talk to you guys
Cool.
later, and thanks again.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Yep.